Is Debbie Brookstein. It's Tuesday, November 5th, 1997, and I'm interviewing Lillie Becker. Lillie, could you state your name?
Lillie Becker.
And spell that for me, please.
Lillie Becker.
And what was your maiden name?
Posteenak. Poster. We went by Poster. We changed our name to Poster.
Is Posteenak
Is a Polish name.
P-A-S-T-E-R.
Posternakck. I guess that's how it's spelled.
Okay. Where and when were you born?
In Poland, Stasi Poland, before the Holocaust. That was before the Holocaust. After we came here, the Holocaust started.
Right. When's your birthday?
February 10th, 1906.
February 10th, 1906. And how did you come to the United States?
My father lost his business, and he had to get out and find a job. So at that time, America was being settled, and he was sent to Texas, and he hated Texas because he couldn't stand the climate. He's used to cold weather. And so then they sent him to Omaha. Omaha being settled at the time, and he found a job as a janitor.
What company did he work for?
The school board.
The Omaha School Board. And then did he send for you and your family?
And then he sent for us before that, after that, and we came, there was 4 of us children, I think. There were two brothers, and me, I think there was a 3rd brother, I can't remember now.
And you came to Omaha.
Yeah, I stayed in Omaha.
Was there someone in your family already here besides your father that you settled with?
You what?
Was there more family here that you settled with?
We didn't know anybody here.
Okay, just your father. And where did you come to live?
Where I came?
Where did you live when you moved here?
Before I came here?
When you moved to Omaha, where did you live?
I lived with, I can't remember. I remember my father found a house, and we all settled, and he was working as a janitor, Omaha School Board. Central High it was.
Oh, your father was a janitor at Central. Okay.
Because that's what after all, he had no training for anything. And he worked hard.
What was your father's name?
I'm trying to think. Posteenak, I don't know what. Oh, Samuel.
Samuel Posteenak.
My mother called him Simcha. That's a Jewish name.
Jewish name. What was your mother's name?
Hannah.
Hannah Posteenak.
She was a hard worker, and she stayed in the home all the time.
And can you tell me about your family, your brothers and sisters?
Well, they weren't very happy either. My brother worked for Jaime's Vinci, one of them, and the other one died here. And they went to, and the brother went to a home, a Jewish home, one of my oldest brothers, and he died here.
What was your oldest brother's name?
I think it was Meyer.
Meyer Posteenak. Later Poster. Did he change his name to Poster?
They came here and they went out and peddled papers. They had to find a job.
So your brothers sold papers.
And I also remember them bringing home papers and bringing things home.
Who were your other brothers?
There's Meyer and Joseph.
Joseph. And then what about sisters?
Mendel, the one that died here.
Mendel.
He was coughing all the time. He was operated in Vienna before he came here. But he never was very well.
So he died as a child. And then who are your sisters?
What?
Who are your sisters?
Well, they're born here in this country, Gertrude. And I have one that's Tony, and she lives in Texas. very pretty girl.
Tony, who did she marry?
She married, let's see, I can't think of his name. Oh, Gold. She married somebody named of Gold.
Gold, okay.
And she has one son named Paul. He's married. I see her once a year or so, but she calls me a lot.
Now, as a child growing up in Omaha, did you live in North
In
Omaha?
the north side, that's most of the Jewish people went.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do all the shopping myself.
You did all the shopping for your family.
The bread and the other things. My mother never stayed in the house a lot.
What businesses do you remember were in the neighborhood at that time?
Well, there were a lot of them went into the grocery business
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of Jewish people went in for themselves.
Do you remember some of those people?
I remember the name of Hornstein.
Hornstein, okay.
I can't remember the others. And I went down, we lived near 24th Street. It was very famous. The Jewish people sell butcher shops and bakeries and groceries. And I remember that part.
Is that where you used to shop on 24th? Who had bakeries at that
And
time?
there was a Adler,
Mm-hmm.
and there was somebody named Adler that had the delicatessen. I can't remember the others. There were several bakers.
7 bakers on 24th Street.
Why?
7 bakers all on 24th Street?
Oh, most of them were 24th Street.
Were there any kosher meat markets?
Yes, they were. They were real nice kosher meat. My mother had, when she got me, she had to kosher it again before we could eat. She was very religious. And I also remember she wore a wig. In the old country, a woman had to wear a wig. When she got married, wore a wig. But when she came here in this country, she took it off. My father shaved his beard. Now they're going it again.
Who did you buy your kosher meat from?
Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Diamond.
Did you do the clothes shopping also? You said you did most of the shopping for your family. Did you
Well,
shop for clothing and other things too?
When I was old enough, I went shopping with my mother.
What do you remember about your neighborhood?
I remember we lived in a Jewish neighborhood and also colored people. And I remember the circus that was around there where I lived, on Paul Street.
On Paul Street?
And I went to that. And I used to like to go to the circus grounds because I see so many people and see so many interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say about it.
Who were some of your neighbors?
Neighbors? I can't remember. Well, I remember Diamond, the butcher shop. But I can't remember the others.
What grade school did you go to?
I went to all the grade school.
Mm-hmm. What was the name of the school?
Kellam School,
Kellam School.
well, I remember that. I think I went mostly in Kellam. Then, when I grew up, I was into Tech High.
Tech High. Tell me about Kellam School.
Oh, I remember that I was very shy, but I had to learn. It was interesting,
Did you like school?
pretty good, because I had to go. I know that's the place for me to go in the morning.
Who were some of your teachers and classmates?
I can't remember.
Tell me about high school.
High school. I was a very good student. I had a hard time learning to type. I can't remember some of the teachers. I remember Porter, the principal.
Mr. Porter or Mrs.?
No, Mr. Porter, the principal,
Okay.
at Central High. But the other teachers, I can't remember.
What did you like about high school?
I like to read. That's what I like the best of all. But I'm very poor in arithmetic. But I went to the library later on. I used to love to go to the library and pick out a book. I used to read good books. I couldn't read any trashy thing.
Did you graduate from Tech High?
Yes.
What did you do after high school?
Well, I went to work in the store.
What store was that?
I went to different stores. I went to Carmen's, and I went to Patrick. I heard they didn't hire Jewish people that time.
Carmen's, did you say?
I worked at Carmen's and I worked at Goldstein's.
What kind of store was Carmen's?
That was ladies' clothing.
Where was it?
16th Street,
In downtown Omaha?
downtown.
What did your brothers and sisters do after high school?
Well, they worked, went to work, different kinds of work.
And what about your father? What kind of work did he do
He
when you were
did
growing
janitor
up?
work.
Janitor?
That's all he did, I remember. And then we went out on the farm. We went out 10 miles from Council Bluffs on a farm. At that time, he learned to farm. He liked it. And he had milk. We had cows. We had milk, and my mother made cheese, that old-fashioned cottage cheese. And I remember that.
And you would drive in from the farm to go to school then?
I didn't go out on the farm. I went out just to visit.
Oh, okay, this was later.
The rest of the family went out on the farm.
Do you recall where any of your brothers and sisters may have gone to work?
Everybody?
Do you recall where any of your brothers and sisters may have gone to work? What companies
Well,
they
one of
worked
my
for?
brothers worked for Hyman Zawinski,
Hyman Zarinsky. What kind of business was that?
tobacco company.
Okay.
Meyer, I can't remember, Meyer liked to travel. And he used to travel a lot. And he used to send me gifts all the time. Then he got older and he went to Jewish, there used to be another home, a Jewish home. My father went there too, and my mother didn't feel good. But she went there too.
Was that in Omaha?
Yes,
Was that the Dr. Scher home?
yes, it was. It was a nice old home. They did kosher cooking. Then my father got sick. My brother stayed on until later on when he had to pass away. And Joe worked for Hyman Zawinski too. But I can't remember the use.
And what about your sisters? What did they do?
I just had two sisters, and Mrs. Corney, and the other Mrs. Gold, and she lives in Texas.
Okay,
I think
let's talk about Gertrude, Mrs. Corney.
Oh, she's the one I just love.
Is she younger than you?
She what?
Are your two sisters younger than you?
Oh, Toby, the baby.
Toby, okay.
She lives down south.
She's the one that married a Gold and she lives
Gold,
in Texas.
uh-huh.
And then Gertrude?
Arizona, I meant Arizona. They live in Arizona.
Okay. And then tell me about Gertrude. What did she do
Gertrude's
after
my
high
favorite.
school?
I love her. She comes every Wednesday and says all my things, because I still can't clothe myself. I have to have help. The girls are very nice to me.
Did Gertrude get married right after high school?
Sure did. I used to tell her to go. I used to tell her to go to Jewish community center. That's what she'd meet Jewish boys. We'd all live not a Jewish neighborhood, you know. And so she went, and that's where she met Mr. Corney. He was very good to me too.
What was his first name?
Norman Corney.
Norman Corney. Korney.
Anybody.
Did you go to the Jewish Community Center for any activities?
Well, I went there once in a while, but I was very shy.
Tell me about any synagogue experiences or religious school experiences you might have had growing up.
Well, I went to my mother to the synagogue. My father used to go to the synagogue in the morning.
What synagogue was that?
I can't remember now.
Was it in the neighborhood?
Not far from the neighborhood. I guess on 19th Street, I can't remember.
19th Street. Were you an Orthodox family?
Oh, yes. My mother was very religious. The first thing she did was take off her false hair, you know. They used to wear, when a woman got married in the old country, they had to cut their hair, and they wore a wig. And I always remember that.
Did you have any religious education when you were
Not very good. I used to go later on in life. I learned to go to the cheder. Not very much. I couldn't go. We couldn't afford it, I guess.
Right after high school, you said you went to work for Carmen's,
Carmen's and Nailson's.
then Nadelson's.
It was Nailson. It was especially shops.
Clothing, women's clothing.
And then I went to Bandai. That's where I had got my work until late on in life.
Where did you meet your husband?
In Omaha, they introduced me. Somebody introduced me to David. I think it was, I can't remember the name.
And what was your husband's name?
My husband was David. He was with Jaime Zawinski.
David Becker. Did he grow up in Omaha?
No, I think he grew up out east.
And he worked for Hyman Zarinsky. That was candy and tobacco.
And then when we got married, he went in for himself. Yeah, and I used to work in the store.
What did he call his business?
Trying to think. Becker Candy and Tobacco Company.
And you worked with him?
Yeah.
What kind of work did you do?
Selling. When he got customers, I guess he worked for Jaime's first and then in for himself. And then he got sick and he passed away.
Do you recall any of your customers?
Trying to think, I can't think of.
And did you work in the business with him before you started selling clothing?
It's the only thing I could do. I wasn't very good in business. Wasn't very good in typing. I like it. It's just one of those things.
Mhm. Who are some of the couples that you might have socialized with, you and your husband?
I can't remember. Of course, I went out a lot with my sister,
Would that have been Gertrude?
Gertrude.
Gertrude and Norman?
Yeah, because Tony passed away. Tony went out of town,
Mm-hmm.
and she married a fellow by the name of Gold.
Did Gertrude and Norman have any children?
They had two daughters, and one of them passed away. The other one is lives in Milo, lives out in Los Angeles.
What is her first name?
Gertrude
Gertrude.
and Tony is in Arizona, and she's called herself Tony.
What about your nieces? What are their
What?
names?
What?
What are the names of your nieces?
One of them passed away, Patsy,
Uh-huh.
and Sharon
Sharon.
is one that's living.
And what did Norman do?
Norman went into business for himself. Well, when he got married so many years ago, there wasn't many jobs open. They did anything. He had right away, he had children. She went there for the first time. I used to tell her to go to the Jewish Community Center. That was very important to associate with Jewish people. And first day she met Norman. He fell in love with her and they got married. And Norman used to go in his own painting business. But he used to do any job to get a job. At that time they were so young.
But eventually he started a paint business.
Yes,
Do you recall the name of that business?
Corny painting.
Corny Paint. Where was that located?
I can't remember. Somewhere in Cumming Street, I can't remember.
On Cummings Street. And then did it move out west?
He passed away, Norman.
Okay. A couple of years ago.
It's been more than a couple.
Okay.
But she is very good to me. Comes every Sunday and Wednesday, saying some nice things, because I still can't do much. I have to depend on a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about some of the things you and your husband did when you weren't working.
When we weren't really. Norman didn't do much, I think. I don't know what he did before.
Did you socialize with any other couples?
There was a few people that we did. I can't remember their names now.
Did you belong to any Jewish organizations?
I belong to Hadassah.
Hadassah.
I like it very much.
Did you do any volunteer work for them?
I can't remember where I did anything. Oh, I did. I used to work in a store in Hadassah. I sold old clothes, you know.
Hadassah Bargain Box.
Bargain
the
Box.
secondhand store.
I used to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt I was doing something.
Mm-hmm. Who were some of the people you volunteered with?
That's who we didn't associate with. Well, there were some people, and I can't remember the names. We used to go out every Sunday and for dinner. He was so good to me.
How old were you when you met David?
When I met David, I was an older girl already. I must have been about in my 30s. Then he got sick and he passed away.
And then what did you do after the Becker Candy and Tobacco?
I went to work at Brandeis. I always remember that store. That was a real nice store. One of the nicest stores in the mall.
Did you go to work downtown?
Yes, and I liked it.
Tell me about it.
Well, I also remember the stairway. There used to be a moving stairway, and I was always afraid to walk on that.
The escalator?
And I went to the escalator.
What department did you work in?
This department.
Dresses?
I used to like dresses.
Do you recall any of your customers? Any of your Jewish customers or anyone that you might have worked with?
With some of the people, I can't remember. There were so many people that, customers that I had.
What synagogue did you belong to?
Beth Israel first, and then I went to Bethel.
Beth Israel first.
I like Bethel very good.
Mm-hmm. Who was the first rabbi at Beth Israel when you were there?
I can't remember. I remember the present day synagogue. What is his name? I can't remember now.
Rabbi Nadoff was at Beth Israel, and was there someone before him?
Of course, the one that's on now is Western new rabbi. I can't think of the name.
Rabbi Kuttner.
What?
Rabbi Kuttner. Is it Beth Israel now?
No, I'm not Bethel. Bethel.
Bethel is Rabbi Drazen.
Jason, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I like him very much.
Did you start at Bethel when it was at the old location?
And what?
Did you start at Bethel when it was at the old location on 49th and...
No, I went to a Jewish synagogue. I remember on 24th Street. And I remember I was too young to remember, or I didn't know the people there. I didn't have many friends.
Mm-hmm. That was your childhood synagogue before Beth Israel and then Bethel.
Bethel.
Did you do any volunteer work for the synagogues?
Yes, the only thing I did was sell the old clothes. Hadassah.
Mm-hmm.
As a volunteer work I did. I can't remember anything else. I had a stroke and I forgot a lot of things. I remember I had to learn to read again after I had a stroke.
So you worked at Brandeis selling dresses, and you mentioned a few other stores that you worked at through the years.
Carmen's and Nielsen's, I remember.
Carmen's, Nadelson's. What were some of the other stores that were downtown?
Yeah, the Kilpatrick was downtown. And Star Stores, I remember it was on 24th Street.
What store was that?
Star Store.
Star?
But I didn't work for them.
What kind of store was Star?
I can't remember. I remember the name Star.
Was it hard to find a job?
Yes, it was.
Why was that?
Yes, at that time it really was.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if a lot of the Jewish people had a hard time. They had to go, a lot of them that's why a lot of them went into business on themselves. But my father took any job that came along.
What do you remember about Gertrude and Norman?
I remember that wonderful to me.
Uh-huh. What about through the years, what kind of things did Norman do?
Well, he worked at different companies, I don't know.
He did the paint store.
He worked in a bakery, I remember.
Okay.
He did anything when he got married to get a job.
Uh-huh.
At that time, he wasn't very choosy. He had to do anything, get a job.
What kind of community activities was he involved in?
You what?
What kind of community activities was he involved in?
Well, he used to belong to so many different things. He liked to sing, and he belonged to different organizations. I can't remember what.
So tell me about after your husband passed away and you went to work for Brandeis. How did you keep busy when you weren't working?
Well, I used to like to read a lot. I wasn't very active, except in the house. I helped my mother because she wasn't very well. So I stayed home. I had a brother, Bill, and he moved to, down not in Los Angeles. He moved to down where did he move now? I can't remember. Oh, all right. I can't remember the name of the town that he lived in. He moved to Los Angeles. He had a bad leg, but now he's getting aid. He's got one of his shoulders broken. Not his shoulder. My niece broke his shoulder. Fell and broke her shoulder. My brother Bill had an operation on his legs now, so he can walk now. They put a new bone, you know. And one of my nieces fell and broke her shoulder, but she's doing as well as he is.
Did you retire from Brandeis?
No, I worked there 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to retire.
Mm-hmm.
They're still getting checks from them.
Mm-hmm. What did you do after you retired?
After I retired, well, I got sick and I came here. That's all I remember.
Who have been some of your roommates here at the home?
I have Ira now, but I used to have Faye Brookstein.
Faye Bernstein.
Was it Bernstein?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got Ida.
Ida Belmont. How long have you lived here?
I lived here 20 years, I guess.
20 years at the home.
I know less than that. It must have been 10 or 12 years now.
Did you come to the Blumkin home or to the Share home?
No, the Bumpkin home.
Blumkin home.
I went first to the Remington, but I didn't care for it. Then the doctor told me to come here. I'd get better care here.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to this place.
So you weren't at the Remington for very long?
Not too long. I had my furniture and everything, and Norman sold my furniture to someone. That helped me. I came here and I have to be satisfied because what else for me to do?
Do you have friends at the Blumkin home?
Well, I know a lot of people, but I go to different activities. I don't associate too much because I'm mostly by myself in a wheelchair.
What are some of your favorite activities?
I love to go to the music. I work in ceramics. I've made some things, I gave it away. In fact, I gave all my friends, I gave my relatives, I gave something from ceramics. I love to do it.
Thank you very much, Lil, for sharing your story with the Nebraska Jewish
Not
Historical
very interesting
Society.
life.
It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's me. I can't be anything else.